2018, TEPIS visited East Sussex, specifically the town of Rye. Rye is home to a variety of historical buildings and locations. Among these is Rye Castle, also known as Ypres Tower. Built in 1249, the castle was designed to be a part of the defence against regular French raids. In 1377, a French assault led to Rye being burnt to the ground, with the tower among the surviving buildings. This led to the tower being used as Rye's court hall for many years. By 1495, the tower had been in the possession of many different owners, but found itself back in the hands of the Rye Corporation. They used the tower as a functioning jail and court hall. Jumping forward to 1837, an extension was added to the outside of the tower. This new building, now known as the Women's Tower, included 4 new cells for inmates. In addition to this, what is now the medieval garden served as the prisoners' exercise yard. Almost 60 years later, in 1891, the tower stopped serving as a prison since a police station containing cells had opened locally. At this time, the basement of the tower began serving as the town's mortuary. Since this time, several events of note occurred. The tower's roof was destroyed during an air raid in 1942, and in 1954 the Rye Museum reopened in the tower's upper floors. Eventually, they took over the basement once the mortuary was closed in around 1959. By 1990, the tower had sustained severe damage from water penetration, and repair work was needed urgently. In around 2006, the tower underwent maintenance to cure the damp and ensure the building's future as a landmark, with help from the Heritage Lottery Fund. And again in 2015, the tower was renovated, this time focusing on the Women's Tower. This renovation was funded in part by the Rye Partnership, the local community, and, again, the Heritage Lottery Fund. These renovations also allowed the tower to be open to the public for the first time. Rye Castle is a location that is reported to be haunted by a number of different entities, and is commonly investigated by a local paranormal group called Ghost Hunt Events. From numerous paranormal investigations at the location, they've reported many cases of hearing unexplained voices, as well as being touched and pushed. For many of their investigations, there was also a psychic present, who reportedly picked up on different spirits in the castle, ranging from jailers to inmates. With the location being a former jail, we at TEPIS speculate that there was likely a lot of negative energy associated with the building, which could potentially be linked to the spirits that were reported to be present. Furthermore, there are many artifacts located around the location, in almost every accessible area. Most of these are artifacts from the castle's history, including items such as military uniforms, as well as muskets and rifles. These items could serve as trigger objects, which are objects that are contextually relevant to an environment, which when left unattended, are used in hopes that something might interact with them. While at the castle, TEPIS were able to record an interview with a member of staff named Toby. This is what he had to say. What would you say is the most substantial bit of evidence you've seen here?
Probably what we've recorded on the CCTV cameras, which was when we opened the Women's Tower, as we call it, which was the Victorian Women's Prison. It had been closed virtually since those times, and there was a big white stain that we saw moving on the wall like a blob, and we sat and watched this. I went down to investigating, the people watching the camera said it disappeared as soon as I walked in the room, reappeared when I walked out. The same thing with what appeared to be a ping pong ball, white, bouncing up and down and flying about inside the women's tower. Other than that, personally, I've just seen things that have been left where I didn't leave them, and things turning up in odd places. Not heavy manifestations, just things like that. And it seems mischievous, could possibly even be down to absent-mindedness. You're never quite sure.
Footsteps and that sort of thing.
Yeah, footsteps upstairs.
Could just be sort of the old building, I assume.
Well, the steps spring back after a day of people walking on them, but nevertheless, sometimes you hear very clearly someone walking, which isn't, seems to be real. Other than that, customers tell me they've seen at the top of the flight of stairs where the medieval privy is. They've seen one guy said he saw a monk sitting in there. Other people have told me they've seen a guy with a fringe and a big smiley face that appears. I don't know, different impressions that people
And
have.
with the end of that interview, we reached the end of our time at the location. Unfortunately, due to limited time in the area, we were unable to conduct a more in-depth investigation at Rye Castle. But while we were there, we believe we were able to get some interesting information, a great interview with Toby, and to explore a very historic location, which we would strongly recommend visiting if you are able to do so. We here at TEPIS do intend on returning to the location in the future. Thank you for taking the time to watch our video, and please let us know your thoughts on the location in the comments below.